Hello, welcome. So glad that you can join me today for today's practice. We'll be going through a gentle movement sequence, just moving slowly, getting some nice lubrication into the joints, finding some connection in between our body, mind, and breath. No props are necessary for today's practice, but if you'd like, maybe some blocks or a blanket would be helpful for your comfort. We'll get started today in our child's pose. We'll start on all fours, hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And then widen the knees towards the edges of your mat. Bring the big toes together. Sit the hips back towards the heels as you drape the torso forwards over the thighs. Find that length forwards with your hands, with the fingertips. Pushing backwards with the hips. Sort of finding some space through the side body. Taking the space for our arrival, for our grounding. Allow your body to release into the ground, into the mat, just in whatever form that it shows up today. So allowing any tightness, allowing any looseness just to exist as it is. Draw your awareness from fingertips all the way down the arms, down the torso, to the legs, to the toes. Just allowing your awareness to come into every part of the body. And once the mind gets to the toes, spread all 10 of them out wide. Press down with each toenail, finding that pressure into the earth, to the ground. Allow this pressure to extend up the leg. Pressing down with tops of the feet, with tops of the ankles, with the shins. Allowing this entire grounding to come in. Hips are nice and deep. 3 breaths to begin our movement. Nice big inhale, fill up the belly, fill up through the chest. Out of the mouth, let it go. Second time, big breath in, even bigger, filling up to the hips, expand through the ribs. Out of the mouth, sigh it out. Last one, really let this one go. Nice big inhale, filling to the hips, filling all the way to the fingers. Out of the mouth, sigh it out. Let this practice go, just relaxing the breath, allowing the breath to be natural. Next, inhale, we'll shift forwards into our tabletop position. Bring the knees back underneath the hips. Come into our spinal segmentation, cat-cows. Inhale to arch the back, drop the belly, look upwards. Exhale, round the back into your cat pose, drop the chin, tuck the tailbone. Inhale, arching, squeeze the shoulder blades together to draw the chest forwards. Exhale, rounding into your cat. Again, breathing in between the shoulder blades. Inhale, arch into your cow. Last time, exhale, rounding through your cat. Come back into neutral, and we'll continue with the spinal segmentation, this time adding on with our legs. Point your right toe straight backwards, extending the leg out long. We'll add this into our cow pose. Next, inhale, arch the belly as you point the right toes up. Exhale into your cat, knee to nose. Draw the right thigh in. Inhale, arching, finding length through the belly, length out through the toes. Exhale, rounding. Try to bring that knee forward, so we're continuing that line all the way to the toes. 2 more times on your own breath, on your own pace. And can you imagine that line extending from crown of the head all the way to the toes? So we're finding a little bit more expansion in here. After your next exhale, last round, kick the right leg straight backwards, bend the right knee. We'll bring knee to shoulder, squeeze your right knee high and forwards towards the right shoulder. Let's step the right foot forwards outside of the right hand. If you like, you can bring blocks underneath the hands to raise up the shoulders. Anjaneyasana, low lunge. Next, inhale, lift the shoulders, arms reach out and overhead. stay here for the exhale. One more nice breath in, expanding out through the fingers. Cactus the elbows out wide, exhale. Inhale to re-extend, nice big inhale. And one more time, exhale to cactus, lean the shoulders back. Re-extend the arms one more time, fingers reach upwards. Bring both hands down to the inside of your right foot. We'll step forwards into our Malasana Yogi Squat. Tuck the back toes, lift up the back knee. Left foot steps outside of the left hand. Point the toes outwards as you sit the hips down towards the heels. Maybe hands come in front for a little bit of support. Or if you'd like to come into a balance challenge, maybe hands come into your heart center. Let the chest extend forwards as the heart reaches towards the thumbs. We'll come into a nice big inhale here, reaching up through crown of the head. On the exhale, can you sit the hips a little bit deeper, just pointing the tailbone down. Bring the hands back down to the earth. Forward fold as you lift the hips up, point the toes forwards. So come into our ragdoll pose from here, just a gentle bend in the thighs, reach for opposite elbows overhead, and then maybe swaying side to side, just bringing a little bit of motion in. Keep the knees nice and gentle so you can rest the belly on the thighs. Come back into center, back into stillness. Release the elbows, just letting the fingertips drape down by the sides. And we'll make our way up into standing. Roll your way up, slowly rounding up for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come up to your Tadasana. Arms down by the sides. Feet about hips width distance apart. So find our grounding here, just taking our attention into our Tadasana. Lift up all 10 toes, spread them out wide, and try to keep this space in between the toes as you bring them down again into the earth. Squeeze the big toe mound towards your heels so you're feeling the arches of the feet ignite upwards. And bringing the attention to the breath. Each inhale, can you imagine crown of the head reaching further upwards, connecting with the sky above? Each exhale, rooting down deeply with the heels, with the soles of the feet, rooting into the ground below. Just finding this connection in, upwards, towards the sky, wherever you may be, downwards, the solidity beneath you. So visualizing the earth underneath. Even if it's through a couple of layers of shoes, of floor, just knowing the dirt, the ground is always beneath. And we'll come back into our movement. Next, inhale, circle the arms out wide, fingertips reach upwards, hands come down to heart center, exhale. Inhale, arms circle out wide, fingers up, forward fold, exhale, hinge at the hips, maybe a gentle bend in the knees to release through the hamstrings. Halfway lift, bring fingertips onto shins as you look ahead, extend outwards to the crown. Exhale, forward folds. Bend the knees enough to plant the hands. We'll step back into our plank pose, toes to the back of your mat. Again, spread the fingers out wide, press down strongly with the palms, and then puff up through your upper back. So trying to broaden between the shoulder blades. One inhale here, all the way down to the ground. Knees come down, bend the elbows, chest comes down, chin comes down. Extend the legs out long, down by the sides. We'll come into our wide arm cobra, a little bit of work through our chest, through our belly. Bring fingertips out wide, about level with the shoulders. Point the elbows up. Next inhale, press down with the fingers as you roll the shoulders upwards to lift into your wide arm cobra. Exhale, lower back down. 2 more times. Inhale, roll the shoulders back to release through the heart. Exhale to lower. And last time, nice big inhale, reaching upwards. Exhale, come back down again. Tabletop position, hands underneath the shoulders. We'll come back onto all fours, setting up for our next sides. Left leg extends straight back this time into our cat-cows. On your inhale, arch the back into your cow pose, point the left toe up. Exhale, rounding into your cat, knee to nose. Continue that rounding through the leg. Inhale, arching, left toes point upwards. Exhale, rounding, knee to nose. 2 more times on your own. Again, see if you can visualize an entire expansive line in your body. Not just the spine, but crown of the head all the way out through the toes. Where else can you find some space through here? Left leg kicks straight backwards after your last round. And bend the left knee to left shoulder. We'll squeeze it forwards and up. Step your left foot outside of the left hand. Anjaneyasana, low lunge. Inhale to lift the arms up, chest upwards. Find that expansion through the side body. Just a little bit deeper on your exhale. Nice big inhale to expand. Cactus the elbows. Exhale, lean backwards. Inhale one more time, re-expanding. Exhale to cactus. Bring the arms up one more time. Find that space through the armpits. Exhale, both hands down to the inside of the left foot. We'll come forwards into our malasana. Tuck the back toes, lift up the back knee. Right foot forwards to the outside of the right hand. Sit the hips low, point the toes outwards. Maybe hands come to the ground. Maybe hands come into heart center. Finding that length upwards to the crown. Sit down deeper with the hips. Now bring a little bit more activation to our outer leg line. Can you press into the outer edges of the feet, squeeze into the glutes, squeeze into the outsides of the thighs. So we're actively bringing in this expansion to the inner thighs. Just one inhale in, one exhale out. Bring hands down to the mat. We'll step back into our plank pose, going through our vinyasa. Right toe step backwards, left toe step backwards. One inhale, puff up through the upper back, really push the ground away. All the way down to the ground, through chaturanga, maybe knees come down first. We'll come into our baby cobra, untuck the toes, press down strongly with the feet. Roll the shoulders back again to lift up through the chest. This time squeeze the elbows in, lengthen through sides of the neck. One inhale, exhale, lower all the way down. Tabletop position, hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. We'll build our first down dog from here. Tuck the toes under, hover the knees 2 inches off the ground, just coming into your bear pose. Can you point the tailbone back so the spine is nice and long, not rounded, not arched. Downward facing dog, push the hips up as you drop the head down. And pedal out the feet a couple of times as you find your dog. Maybe shake out the head, yes and no. Can you broaden through the shoulder blades? Again, finding that length, finding that space. Press down strongly, all 10 fingertips, all knuckles of the fingers. Coming back into stillness, nice big inhale all the way up to the tip of the hips. Out of the mouth, let it go. Reach your right leg up, 3-legged dog. Press down strongly with the left heel. Knee to nose, exhale, shift forwards. You'll step your right foot to the front of the mat. Drop the back knee down, but keep the toes tucked. Do a little bit of work into our hip flexors of that back leg. Again, options, you can bring hands down to the ground, maybe to blocks if you'd like a little bit more length. Well, we'll bring the focus into that back leg. Next inhale, straighten the knee, squeezing to the left thigh, kick the left heel back. Exhale, bring the knee back down again. 2 more times, inhale, each time maybe finding a little bit more length. Can you extend the leg even further? Exhale back down. Last time, we'll keep it lifted. Inhale to straighten that back leg. Kick it out as far as you can. And squeeze the thighs in towards each other, squeezing through the pelvic floor. Crescent lunge. Keep that stability of your lower body as you rise up. Arms reaching up overhead. Nice big inhale in. Stay for the exhale. Warrior two, drop that back heel. So we're opening up towards the sides. Right toes pointing forwards, right knee pointing forwards. Big inhale in. Extended side angle. Let your right fingertips draw you forwards. Bring right elbow on the right thigh. Left arm reaches up overhead. Press down strongly with that right elbow so you're lifting up out of the shoulder girdle. We're finding that length through the entire side. All right, getting a little bit more length, a little bit more activation here. Bend that top arm. Left hand cups the base of the skull. And then lean the head back into that left hand. Peel the left shoulder back. Try to point that elbow up towards the sky. Finding that nice length in, that support for the spine. And then can you keep this length, keep this openness? Release the left hand, left fingertips reach back upwards. Nice big inhale in. Bring both hands to the ground, exhale. We'll walk to our wide-legged forward fold. Hands come towards the center of your hips. Turn both toes towards the long edge of the mat. On your next exhale, go ahead and round the spine to the center of the legs. You can bring hands down to the ground, to blocks. Maybe you turn the fingertips backwards, so you're walking the hands underneath your legs. Using a little bit of traction just from the palms on the ground. Flick the tailbone up towards the sky. Press the thighs backwards as you press down strongly, outer edges of the feet. One inhale in. One exhale out. Bring the hands back in front of the face, underneath the shoulders if they're not already there. We'll lift up into standing. Hands come to hearts, hands come to the hips. Next inhale, shoulders lift upwards, coming up into standing. We'll set up for our goddess pose from here. Circle the arms out and up. Point the toes outwards as much as is comfortable in your body. Next exhale, sit the hips low, bend the elbows out wide into your cactus goddess. All right, again, sitting low into the hips, press down strongly, outer edges of the feet, and then find that length of your spine. Tailbone is nice and low, squeezing with the low belly to find that engagement. You can keep the shoulders reaching backwards. The lower ribs are still nice and low. Next inhale, we'll straighten the arms, straighten the legs, nice big expansion upwards. And then we'll face back towards front of your mat. Turn the toes, you're facing over the right toes. On the next exhale, bend into your right leg. Both hands come down to the ground. Step the right foot back into your plank pose. We'll lower all the way down to the earth, bellies down to the ground. All right, getting a little bit more into our shoulders. We'll set up for our whale pose. Extend your right arm straight out from the shoulder. Palm is facing down. Left hand stays underneath the left shoulder. You can rest the head onto the mat, onto the earth. Next, inhale, roll onto the right side of your body. So you're finding a little bit more sensation through the front of that right shoulder, that bottom shoulder. Options with your legs. If you'd like some support, you can bend the knees together. If you like a little bit more sensation into your pose, maybe you step the left toes, those top toes backwards. And if you like a little bit more, maybe that left arm reaches up towards the sky, binds to the low back. Wherever you are, see if you can relax into your pose. So where can you breathe into? Where can you release into? Maybe that's relaxing the jaw. Maybe that's allowing the neck to be longer. Allowing the toes and fingers to be looser. One more inhale. Next exhale, we'll release, unroll, come back onto the belly. And other cheek to the mat. Both arms are out long, just resting. We'll come back into our tabletop position. Hands underneath the shoulders, coming up onto all fours. And setting up our downward facing dog. Tuck the toes under. Hover the knees just 2 inches off of the ground. Again, engagement in the low belly. Squeeze the thighs towards each other. Downward facing dog. Push the hips upwards. Drop the head, drop the chest. Nice big inhale in. Out of the mouth, let it go. We'll start on to our next side. Left leg lifts upwards, three-legged dog. Kick the right heel down. Knee to nose, exhale, shift forwards. Crescent lunge, step the left foot to the front of the mat. Next inhale, you'll lift up the arms, circling fingertips up and overheads. Exhale to sit the hips a little bit lower. One more inhale in. Next exhale, bring both hands back down to the ground. We'll do a little bit more exploration with that back leg. Drop the right knee down to the earth, but keep the right toes flexed. Next inhale, straighten that right leg by kicking the heel straight outwards. Try to get that leg as long as you can, maybe even wiggling the toes backwards. Inhale, drop right knee. Exhale to kick back outwards. And last time, dropping the knee. This time, lift it up, keep it lifted. Right knee is lifted. Squeeze thighs together, squeeze pelvic floor together. Rise up into your crescent lunge. Arms circle out wide, fingers reach up. Sit the hips lower as the shoulders relax. We'll open up into our warrior two. Next exhale, drop that back heel, sitting into that front thigh. Allow your left knee to point same direction as the toes. So we're finding that nice, beautiful engagement. One big inhale in, one big exhale out. Allow your left fingertips to draw you forwards. Extended side angle, left elbow on the left thigh, right arm extends straight up towards the sky. And again, press down with the left ankle, right fingertips reach upwards, higher, higher, higher. Bend the right arm, palm goes behind the skull. Then lean the head back, lean the shoulders back, point the right elbow upwards. Keep this engagement. Right fingertips reach back up overhead. Nice big inhale. That'll come back down. Exhale, both hands come down to the earth. Walk your hands to the center of your hips. Point the toes towards the edge of your mat. And we're coming into our wide-legged forward folds. For this one, you can walk the hands underneath the hips again, or if you like a little bit more traction, maybe hands come to the shins, to the ankles, just for a little bit of pull. And if you're adding in that traction with the hands, see if you can relax the shoulders, so only allowing the stress, the tension to exist where it's necessary, noticing where it's not necessary as well. Next exhale, release the hands from wherever they are. Hands come in front of the face. We'll rise back up. Bring the hands onto the hips. Next inhale, stack shoulders right above, coming up into standing. Circle the arms out wide, reach upwards. Goddess pose, point the toes out wide. Exhale to sit the hips low, cactus the elbows. And press into the outer edges of the feet, squeezing in with the low belly, bringing the low ribs in so our abs are nice and engaged, supporting our work. One more inhale, sit the hips a little bit lower. Next, inhale, straighten the legs, straighten the arms. And then go back towards the front of your mat. Point the toes to the left, towards the top of your mat. On your next exhale, bend into that left leg. Both hands come down. Step the left foot back into your plank pose. Again, inflating through the upper back. Exhale to lower all the way down to the earth. Untuck the toes. We'll come into our whale pose, little shoulder opener on the next side. Left arm extends straight out from the shoulder, palm is down. Right hand underneath the right shoulder. Go ahead and allow the head to rest on the earth. Next, inhale, roll onto outer left side of your body, finding that sensation through the left shoulder. So again, options, maybe we bring the knees inwards for more support. Or if you like a little bit more sensation, straighten the legs, let the right toes press backwards, maybe right fingertips reach up, binds to the low back. Allowing the breath to exist here, allowing it to expand slowly, slowly, just at your own pace. You still keep the looseness anywhere where tension is unnecessary. Last breath in. On your exhale, unroll, come back onto the belly, both arms long. You can rest the other cheek down onto the mat. Hands underneath the shoulders, child's pose. Slide the hips back. If you like the wide-legged version, maybe let the knees move towards the sides of the mat as you sit the hips towards the heels, walk the fingers forwards. Add a little bit more work for sides of the body. Keep the chest low. Walk the hands over towards the right. So you're bringing belly over that right thigh. And fold the chest down, fold the head down. You press down with the left hand to push the left hip back further. Allow the left shoulder to be heavier as well. So really getting into that left side of the body. One more inhale. One more exhale. Walk the hands back to center. Keep the chest low again. And then over towards the left. Belly over the left thigh. Fold over the leg. Press down strongly with the right hand so you can push the right hip back further. Let that right shoulder be heavier as well. Again, finding that breath in the right side of the body. After your next exhale, walk hands back into center, back into your child's pose. Then we'll lift up to standing on our shins, walk the hands backwards, bring the knees together, and then sit the hips up over the knees. So options, if you like, you can bring blocks to either sides of your ankles, maybe a blanket underneath the knees. Otherwise, we'll set up for our camel 3 times with our prep. 3rd time we'll come into our pose. Make sure knees are about hips width distance apart, and see that your feet are about the same length apart, so shins are about parallel to each other. Inhale to bring the arms up and overhead. Reach up with the fingertips. And then tuck the tailbone slightly down so you're finding length in. Our entire back bend is going to include our hips. So thinking knees all the way up to the crown. Big inhale in. First time with our prep. Cactus the elbows out wide. Exhale, squeeze shoulder blades together. Drop the fingertips down. Inhale to circle the arms up one more time. Exhale, cactus, this time leaning the shoulder blades back. Drop the hands down by the side. Inhale, circle the arms out wide, reaching upwards. We'll come into our camel this time. Exhale to cactus, the elbows out wide, push the hips forward, squeeze shoulder blades together. This time bring hands to the top of the glutes. So not the low back, but rather the glutes. Because we want to encourage the hips to go forwards rather than the low back to go forwards. Squeeze shoulder blades together, elbows together, like you're trying to touch them behind your back. Then lift up to the crown, maybe allowing your gaze to lift towards the sky. You can stay here with hands at the hips. If you like a little bit more, maybe you lower your hands down to the heels, maybe to blocks on either side for an intermediate. And then can you keep the breath open? Open, free, and easy. Next inhale, if your hands are not already there, bring the palms back onto the glutes, and slowly lift the shoulders back upwards, coming up. Exhale to sit the hips back towards the heels. Again, finding that support with the hands, making your way down. Bring the hands onto the lap. And relax the shoulders, relax the throat, relax the jaw. All right, we'll slowly close down our practice. Make your way onto your backs. Swing the legs forwards as you let the chest come down, the shoulders come down, arms are long by the sides. And we'll come into our Supta Baddha Konasana. Extend the arms out into a T, palms upwards. Let the knees fall out wide as the soles of the feet come together. Just releasing any effort from here. So letting the knees be however high, however low they naturally are. And see if you can find more release in from your muscular body. So you can allow the force of gravity on your mass, on your flesh, to bring in the opening. And maybe it's breathing into the inner thighs, breathing into the groin. Anywhere that feels tightness, so it might be different from somebody else. Find where that space is for you. We'll stay here, one breath in, one breath out. We'll turn this into our supine twist. Simply close the left knee over the right knee. Supine twist, knees to the right. If you'd like, you can raise the knees up a little bit further, finding your degree. Allow the head to turn towards the left. If you'd like to bring the neck in as well. Next inhale, lift the left knee back up. Open back into your Supta Baddha Konasana, into your cobbler's pose. We'll do same thing, our twist to the left. Close right knee over the left. You can stay here, or if you'd like, maybe bring the knees a little bit further out wide. Just make sure right shoulder is still nice and grounded. Turn the head towards the right. Bring the neck into the twist. Last breath. Next inhale, open back up into your Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together, knees out wide. Hug the knees into the belly, squeezing the thighs in tight. And then maybe rocking side to side. Just a little bit of gentle movement here. We'll finish off with our happy baby. Reach in between the legs for either the shins, the ankles, or the outer edges of the feet. Stamp the soles of your feet up towards the sky. Press the knees down towards the armpits. And maybe sway side to side. And just a little bit of play. See if you can get the entire length of your spine pressing down into the earth. So maybe that's also the tailbone, also the sacrum, back of the neck, back of the head. So really creating that connection. Next, exhale, slowly release the legs if you still have them. Hug the thighs back into the belly. Then extend the fingers up to the sky, toes up to the sky, spread them out wide, wide, wide. Wiggle out the toes, wiggle out the fingers. Circle out the ankles and wrists in one direction, then the other. Just some loose movement here. And slow down the pace of your movements until you come back to stillness. Let the legs return back to the earth, arms long by the sides. Set up for your Shavasana, your final resting pose. Make yourself as comfortable as possible. Take up all the space you have around you. Place yourself exactly and intentionally. Then allow the body to release any last bits of effort, just to melt away into the ground, into the earth. Release the brow, the eyelids, jaw, cheeks, ears, and lips. Relax the throat, the chest, the shoulders. Relax the belly, the hips. Relax arms down to fingers, legs down to toes. Total relaxation. Shavasana.